Hello, everyone. Pastor George here. Welcome to our next segment in Spooktober. And today we are going to be talking about Frankenstein.
That's Frankensteen.
Or however you want to pronounce it, I guess. But it actually is. I'm fairly certain. I guess if you wanted to do it in German, Inga can correct me on this. It would probably be Frankenstein or something like that. I don't know. Listen, I'm not an expert in German, but we're going to talk about Frankenstein. Now, when you think of Frankenstein, you probably think of this guy, right? Bolt in the neck, smooth overhead, green skin, all that type of stuff. Well, that's a modern, I guess, is it modern if it's almost 100 years ago? Maybe not. More modern interpretation of what he looked like. Obviously, this is not actually who Frankenstein is. We associate it with the monster's name, but the name Frankenstein is actually the doctor, Dr. Frankenstein, who creates this monster, right? Which is why it's commonly referred to as Frankenstein's monster. But over time, they become so pushed together. Now, this is actually probably the most Christian of all the monsters we're going to talk about, because the story that it is based on, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, is, while not overtly Christian, brings up some really important questions and essentially gave it, like, a lot of people consider it the first science fiction novel because it really starts off this whole process, and we're going to talk about that. So the novel itself, not the movie that Universal based it on, the novel itself comes and starts with a ship in the far north near the icebergs, right? And this used to happen. Whaling ships, exploration vessels would go up there, especially in the 1800s when it was written, because that was like the last place that humans have been to, right? So there's this big race to reach the North Pole. And so you have a ship up there that is encased in ice, and this would happen, right? You go up there, it'd be winter, all of the water would just get freezed over, and ships would just be stuck there. And they knew this, so they would plan ahead a lot of the time. And so they would just chill, wait for summer to come when it would, you know, get nice and balmy up to like 33 degrees or whatever, just warm enough for ice to start melting. And then they would try and continue farther north, right? So anyway, it starts with a ship that's encased in ice. And on that ship, the captain runs into someone who has kind of stowed away on the vessel. And he runs into a guy who introduces himself eventually as Dr. Frankenstein. And so he is running from the monster that he has created. And then this is where you get the traditional story, right? The guy who wants to unlock the secrets of life brings up a lot of different parts of buried criminals, right? Fuses them together. It's alive, right? Hits it with lightning, and it comes to life. And of course, people do not react well to this. But the interesting thing that is different between the novel and the movie is that in the movie, Frankenstein is not, I don't want to say stupid because that's insulting or something like that, but he's simple, I guess, right? Like he's very right, like just like normal things, but in the actual novel, he's a completely rational and thinking creature, right? And so the novel, big exploration, is it's a horror novel because obviously what Victor Frankenstein, the doctor, has done is horrific, right? It is scary. And the big question of the novel is a question that has been asked again and again and again in science fiction, just with different topics, is, can man play God, right? Is that actually something that we as human beings should do? Should we create life? And the whole point of Frankenstein is the monster trying to figure out who he is, right? And so he actually reads the Bible in it, and he reads a lot of other things, and he's trying to understand who he is as a creature. Is he unique? Does he have a soul? All of these types of things. And ultimately, the thing that is most hurting for him is that no one wants him because he looks terrible, right? And his master, or the person who created him, wants nothing to do with him. And so it has this really interesting Christian thing, right? Where, we could look, I mean, through our sin, do look like Frankenstein's monster to God, right? But the opposite is true. Whereas Dr. Frankenstein wanted nothing to do with his monster, God wants everything to do with us, right? He loves us so much that he dies for us. And so you have and that is, hinted at in the novel. Mary Shelley wasn't particularly religious, but you have to remember at the time, everyone just swims in the sea of Christianity, whether they were going to church often or not. And so it's really good. I don't know how well it is aged. The last time I read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein was in 7th grade, and I was way too young probably to read that book at that point, or didn't put enough effort in when I was in 7th grade to read it. I can't really recommend any movies that have done it. So I can't. I think they did make a more modern movie on it, which maybe we watched in that class, and I don't know. I thought it was fine, I guess. So I would definitely recommend checking it out, and just to explore that. I mean, that's a theme that has been done again and again, right? Like with Jurassic Park or whatever. And it's a good reminder of the limits of man's knowledge and how maybe even if there's something we really want to do, it can end up turning back on us, right? And that's what's scary. So have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. I will see you tomorrow for Bible study. Peace out.